Good day, drivers. I wanted to express how I feel about this content series and how important it is to get this kind of message out. Too many content creators who happen to be a truck driver are saying the same thing, complaining constantly. The long hours, dispatchers, brokers, waiting at shippers and receivers, and how trucking just ain't what it used to be. And sure, there's some truth in that, but that's not what I'm here to build. I want to do my part to bring back the camaraderie that made trucking what it is today. Because, believe it or not, this job used to be something people were proud of, not just something to complain about on the internet for views. I came into trucking at a time when the old school truckers were still around. I was kind of the in between generation. I got to learn from both sides of the old school guys with decades of wisdom and the newer drivers with a different perspective. I didn't have anyone in my family to teach me this. No grandfathered in knowledge. I had to go find it. And I did. I learned from the old school drivers, the ones who actually talked to each other, the ones who would flash their lights to let you know it's safe to merge, the ones who use a CB radio for more than just background noise. Back then, the CB wasn't just for traffic updates or calling out a Smokey Bear. It was connection. We talked about life, family, real things. It made the miles go by easier. Now, the CB radio these days, it's pretty much useless. Nobody's talking on them anymore. Half the time, if someone does have one on, it's just background noise, and it's not even worth turning on most days. And at the rate it's going, it's probably going to end up a dead technology. And that brings me back to something else that has disappeared: helping each other. It used to be normal to hop out of your truck and help another driver back into a tight spot. Now, people sit and watch, or complain about it, or grab their phone like they're filming a wildlife documentary. Here we see the rookie in his natural habitat, struggling. Common decency isn't so common anymore, and what's even more concerning is that this is becoming normal for the newer generation coming into trucking. Now, don't get me wrong, there are still drivers out here doing it right, holding on to old school values, and I respect that, because those old timers, they paved the way for us. They built this career, and most of them, when they retire, don't complain about it. They miss it. They miss the road, the freedom, the purpose. It's funny how all that works, isn't it? We don't realize the value of something until it's gone. And that's the part of what I want this content to do. I want to bring awareness back to what actually matters out here. I want to help drivers lower their stress, not by changing the industry, but by changing how they respond to it. Because let's be honest, most of the things drivers stress about are completely out of their control. And yet we carry it like it's our responsibility. That's why I encourage something most people don't talk about in trucking: stoicism. Learning to focus on what you can control and letting go of what you can't. Books like The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday or The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins do a great job explaining this. You can find those in Audible, and they're a great listen. It's not about becoming emotionless, it's about becoming steady. And that ties directly into something I talk about in my coaching too: your health. Because stress isn't just in your head, it shows up in your body. It affects your hormones, your sleep, your energy, even your blood sugar. You pair constant stress with a diet full of processed, hyperpalatable truck stop food, no movement, no sunlight, no sleep regulation, and now you got a real problem. That's what the proper human diet comes in. It's not about food. It's about creating a stable, grounded lifestyle. Less chaos in your body so you can handle the chaos around you better. Because if your body is constantly running on sugar and crashes, you're not just tired, you're reactive. And that's when everything feels worse than it actually is. Another big thing I want to talk about in this series is gratitude. A lot of drivers today feel entitled, like they're owed something. And that mindset, it'll eat you alive. Because this job, it's not easy, but every single day you complete it safely, that's something to be grateful for. You didn't get hurt, You didn't hurt anybody else. You kept it between the lines and made it home to your stop. That's a win. And it's when most people don't even think about. An attitude of gratitude changes everything. It grounds you. It reminds you that even on a tough day, there's still something to appreciate. Another thing I see a lot of drivers struggle with is rushing. Always in a hurry. Speeding, tailgating, trying to shave off a few minutes like it's going to change their life. Let me save you some time. It won't. You're going to get there when you get there. All rushing does is increase stress and risk. And if you really think about it, we all end up in the same place eventually anyway. 6 feet under in a box or in a box on a relative shelf. The difference is how we live before we get there. You stack unnecessary stress, poor diet, no movement. Yeah, that timeline shortens really quick. I don't want that for you. I want you to actually enjoy your life. Stress is a part of life, no doubt. But how we respond to it, that's everything. Your body still reacts to stress like you're being chased by a predator. Heart rate up, hormones firing, ready to run. But instead of a predator, it's a late load, or a dispatcher's call, or traffic. Same response, different situation. And when you stay in that state constantly, it wears you down. That's another reason I don't respect a lot of the content being put out right now. It feeds that stress, spreads negativity like it's entertainment, and people eat it up. Because bad news travels fast, but I want to be a part of something different. I want to shift that culture. I want drivers to take control of what they can control, including their health, their mindset, and how they show up every day. Another big one, change. People hate change, especially in trucking. New rules, new regulations, new systems, and everyone just wants to go back the way it was. But that's not reality. Change is a part of life, and fighting it only makes things harder. What I want to teach is how to adapt, how to stay steady even when things shift around you, because that's where real strength comes from. At the end of the day, there's no shortage of things to complain about in this industry, but complaining doesn't fix anything. The only thing we truly have control over is how we respond. Even things like politics. People get wrapped up in it like they can control every outcome, and all it does is add more stress. And stress always shows up somewhere. Your body keeps score. That's why being grounded, grateful, and thinking more stoically can have such a big difference. So, this series, Road Wisdom with Coach John, this is bigger than just talking. This is about changing perspective, changing culture, helping drivers become better, not just at their job, but in their lives. So now, I want to hear from you. What should we talk about next? What are some things that you experienced out here that needs to be said? And I'll bring it to the table or bring it to the camera. Drop it in the comments. Let's build this together. Until next time, drivers, be safe and take care of each other.